Welcome to New Realities. I'm Aleta St, and this program is about the evolution of our consciousness. And what you've been seeing over the past couple of years is how we are accelerating our awareness to know that there's more to reality than really what we've been told. And that's why I'm so happy to have back on my program Aleta St. She's an energy healer, a spiritual coach, and someone who's really about lifting the vibration of the planet. Thank you, Aleta.
Well, I'm so happy to be here again, Alan. Ta-da!
Yeah, no, I know you've been on some important shows of mine in the past. We did a whole Crystal Skull show where we tuned into the energy. But I want to talk about you and how you work with people. And, you know, I did a little session with you, and I sense that you immediately tune into the field of the person and see what they need in the moment. So what comes up for you as people come in to do a session? What are you aware of with that person?
Well, when people come in to see me, I don't want to know any history. They come in, they sit on my bed,
Yes.
this big, you know, king-size bed.
Very comfortable bed,
Very
yes.
comfortable.
Yes.
I said, shrinks have their couches, I have my bed.
Okay.
And so then I can scan, but I don't want them to tell me anything about what their concerns are or why they're there or their history.
But talk about scanning, because what do you mean by scanning?
Well, I was born intuitive.
Yeah.
I knew what people were feeling and thinking when I was very little. I was healing animals when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born with that gift. My father was used during World War II to go behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. To find different soldiers that were captured for his psychic abilities.
Oh, really?
So
he was hired by the...
No, he was in. He was in the military.
He was in the military, and they knew this, and they...
And they used his abilities.
Okay.
So it usually runs in a family. Mm-hmm. He was in the White Brotherhood. He told me stories of all amazing things.
Your father?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's an amazing man.
Yeah.
We were at his funeral.
I was at his funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know. He was just laying there, but he seemed like a nice
guy.
Oh,
he was amazing. He was a merchant seaman. He traveled all over the world and always brought home all these stories. Mm-hmm. And so as I was growing up, naturally, I was so connected to him, and also my mother. My mother's been wonderful, good, solid rock.
Right.
A lot of Christian, you know,
funny how none
values.
of it rubbed off on your brother. Her brother is Curtis Lewer, the head of the
Guardian Angels. See, we're both healers in our own right. Like, he goes into the streets, and actually, I helped start the Guardian Angels with my brother.
You did?
It was down in the subways. I wore the
red beret and
the whole thing.
So, but you've taken that, and now you're healing people one-on-one. Because...
Well, this is it. I started out in a show business career.
Right. You were in the first production of Hair.
In Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam.
I played Sheila. Easy to be hard, Good Morning Starshine, I Believe in Love.
Okay.
And basically, I've just expanded that premise in my life. Mm-hmm.
That really was the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
It was.
The 60s, and then you, as a sort of an Aquarian healer that's tapped into the energy field. Yeah.
So as I was in show business in Europe, having a great time at that particular time, that's when everything was happening, I went on a journey of self-realization, because in show business, your whole self-esteem is based on, am I working? Does everybody love me?
Right.
And so I had to heal deep, deep wounds within myself.
And in your book, you talk about how you really hit rock bottom. Where
I was the one, the A-type personality that kept going, and trying to, do everything all at once, and I burnt out. Right.
You really burnt out. You were really physically sick, and you could not move.
It was for a moment of time where I realized, maybe there was something more than just becoming a star and performing. Maybe I had to be happy with inside of myself when I wasn't performing. That was my biggest realization. Because so often as a performer, there's so many times you're not performing, and then you want to have a sense of identity inside of yourself. And that's kind of my quest now, because I help people when they come to see me find themselves, to really love themselves. And it's not just a concept. It's an actual experiential feeling, so that they can have a life shift. Right. Now, my gift is when somebody comes into the session, I can see where their blocks are. Reading the chakra systems, the right side, which is yang, puts energy out, the left, which is yin, energy in, the magnetic and dynamic, which I talk about in my book, Life Shift. And then I say, okay, what happens when you were 6 to 7 years old?
And you just get an intuitive hit that they're stuck at a certain age, or is that how you tune into like 6 or 7?
Basically, it just comes to me. It's almost like the person's a hologram for me, and I'll either hear it, I'll feel it in my body, or I'll actually see what happened. And then I'll tell them, okay, this is what you're feeling right now in your life. You're feeling stuck, you're lonely, there's financial whatever. But my gift, and the reason why I can work so quickly, is because I can intuitively see what's going on. And once I do that, I can crack it open very quickly. Well, today we had a half hour.
Yeah, it was very nice.
And I could see you multidimensionally, past lives, present, what's going on in your heart, and then be able to guide you into kind of integrating what your real desires, dreams, and hopes are, and what your destiny is in terms of, well, we were dealing with relationship issues. So with everybody, I'm able to look at them and quickly, whether it's on the radio, in person, or in a big group.
Well, I think part of that is you getting out of the way. So your own personal agenda, you become a sounding board.
Absolutely. I have
That's
Alan,
right. That's
I have
what
no agenda.
I know.
I'm just reading.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the key to being a good healer, is that you become an empty vessel for the other person's resonance to be felt in your field.
Because what I do is I channel the light. So I've been healing for 40 years. So now it's kind of amusing to me that first everybody was a life coach, and now everybody's a healer. But it took a long time, and God only knows how many lifetimes, to really sit with the energy, do the emotional work, do the physical work, do the mental work, and then vibrate, clear your temple so that the spiritual energy can actually come in and resonate. Yeah. It takes a long time to do that. That doesn't happen
Well,
in a
I think it does get quicker and quicker as people like you are accessing the multidimensional field. It's making it easier for other people to do that as well.
Right, but people have to understand there's no quick fix.
Yeah.
It's an onion, peel. And to get into the cellular level on the physical form, it's almost like homeopathic. You lift something up and then something else comes up.
Right. Let's talk about the levels that people could be stuck on. Let's say, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual.
Right. Well, in the book, I talk about the 4 bodies.
Yeah,
that it's really the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And you really have to address everything on those levels. When I'm working with somebody, I'm reading all their levels at once. I can, quick shift all around. And it'll come to me, okay, what's the fastest way to enter into their matrix so that they understand it in a very practical way? They can feel the emotion of it, and then I can place my hands on their body if I'm dealing with them one-on-one. If I'm dealing with them in a Skype, they'll feel the energy, or on the radio, they'll still feel the energy. Even coming through on the television, they can feel it.
Right now. But what happened? What is it that are you consciously emanating something, or
I'm just hooking up with the divine source.
How do you do that?
And as soon as I do that takes that takes many years for me. All right. Many years of letting go of emotional blocks, dealing with my nutrition. I mean, I had children at 57.
I know. You were the oldest person at the time to have twins.
In America.
In America, which is an amazing accomplishment.
Now they're 9 and I'm 66. And so I'm still regenerating. So I walk the talk in terms of what I do.
Well, you do look better now than ever, I have to say.
Yeah, well, because I'm winding up, not down. So if you use the energy, that's what happens. You regenerate yourself. You don't have to deteriorate.
How do you regenerate yourself?
You regenerate yourself by clearing away all the nutritional, toxic things that go on in a body, plus the environment. So you make sure you do that. You exercise, you're eating properly, you're taking your nutrients, you're doing whatever you need to do that's on the cutting edge of anti-aging, and there's so much out there. Then you move into the emotional body, which is its own specific body. You have to be able to not get in touch with what you're thinking, but make it okay to get in touch with what you're feeling. And when you do that, you want to embrace that. And then I have a quick shift technique where you could just breathe into the feeling.
Oh, can we do that?
Well, yeah, for instance. Okay. Yes. All right. This is like without going into a primal process.
No, it's just a simple quick fix.
Right. So
I know there's no quick fixes. But
well, I call it quick shift.
Okay, let's do a quick shift.
It's a quick shift.
Okay.
So what you want to do is immediately, like right now, I'm visualizing gold light.
Okay.
So let everybody tune in right now to feel that there's a gold orb 6 inches above your head, and that this energy, this radiant golden energy, is coming in through the top of your head and going throughout your entire body. And then if you're feeling, just keep breathing and feeling that beautiful golden light, and you can do that in a minute. If you're feeling sad or angry or irritated about something, the light will absolutely embrace that feeling right in your heart center if you focus there. And then know that your feelings are not facts, they're feelings. And what you want to do is feel it, embrace it, get the information from that feeling, but then you want to let it go so you don't get stuck in the sadness or the anger or the resentment. So you take a deep breath in into the heart center, surrounded by gold light. Hold it for the count of 5. Say to yourself, I'm willing to feel it, embrace it, acknowledge it, work with it, and then let it go, and then release it. And then you do that again. Feel the feeling, acknowledge, embrace, work with it. Get the information, and then let it go. And you do that one more time. Feel whatever negative feeling there is. Embrace it, acknowledge it, get the information, and then let it go. So that you get to a place where your emotional body is calm and clear. And then what you can do is you start to visualize, and this is the fastest way to make it happen, and this helped me from my show business career, is you imagine someone or a pet or something that gives you that sense of love, and then you give it to yourself.
Right.
Because it's hard for us to receive love. In fact, in the book, I talk a lot about it's so easy to be the givers all the time, hard to be the receivers. But if you get that resonance of love coming to yourself, then you hook up with divine love and say, okay, I deserve to receive that, because most of us feel like we don't, like we're not successful enough or good enough or whatever. So we feel like we have to do it on our own.
So by deserving love, by feeling the deserving of love, that actually just shifts the way we actually talk to ourselves. You know, we're always on this inner dialogue of being a certain way with ourselves, but that shifts ourselves to have more compassion for ourselves.
Right, and it's not, again, it's a feeling. Everything really translates through the feeling in the emotional body. Then when you hit the mental body, that's when the visualizations are really important. You know, what you visualize, what you focus on, I mean, this is basic 101 metaphysics.
Right.
But we always have to be reminded of it.
Yes.
Thoughts are things, and what you focus on is what you create. And most of us, when we get emotional turmoil, we keep on talking about what we don't want, rather than visualizing what we do as if it's already happened. So then you got the physical, emotional, mental hooked up. You clear the energy, and you bring in your spiritual energy, because if you don't clear this, it's not going to resonate to the spiritual.
You can't bring in the spiritual energy if the other junk is still clogging up the work. So how do you bring in the spiritual energy?
You well, I use the light. The light.
The ball coming into the crown.
It could be gold light for transformation, hot pink for unconditional love, violet, which is one of the highest colors. That's really, you know, Saint Germain.
Yeah.
Royal purple for abundance. Bring that in. But the thing that will connect you the quickest is some people connect through angels, some people guides, some people God, or the universe, or, you know, the God of your understanding. Whatever it is, just feel it for the moment. Call it in, and it'll be there. Use the light, and then bring that into your physical form.
And that
then
clears,
you become the spiritual being having the physical experience.
And all 4 levels are taken care of then.
That's the way you need to do it.
But let me ask you, isn't it a lot of responsibility being a healer, calling yourself a healer? People come to you and say, fix me, you know, make them better, cure them of serious illness. I mean, how do you take that on? How do you deal with it? I mean, how much can you really do? How much do you let go of and say you can't do? I'm just curious.
Well, it's up to the person. When people come to see me, they're ready to shift because I'm a catalyst. People don't come to me when they're just like not quite sure.
But do you heal serious illnesses in that case, or
well,
people who are...
People don't come to me. If they have cancer, they'll come to me for what's the emotional...
So you work on that emotional level there.
Yes, and the mental level. Have people been cured of physical things? Yes. You know, I had an interesting thing. I was sharing this with you before. I have a client who's in England, and I do a Skype session, and her dog, who's 14, was beside her.
Yes.
And he was having a hard time with her, you know, couldn't walk, this and that, and she was really upset. At the end of the session, the dog got up, was bouncing around, and went with her for a walk. I wasn't expecting to heal the dog. And she, you know, she sent me this email and said, you're not going to believe what happened, you know.
But how much responsibility do you take for the other person? I mean, I know you really don't take any, but people lay stuff on you as a healer, don't they?
But they don't, because basically, I'm empowering them when they come in. I'll do the reading. We'll talk about what's going on emotionally. I'm there to help shift the energy through the energy I channel. So it's like Roto-Rooter.
But it's still up to them to do the work.
Totally, to be present in the, you know, the session, but also to do the homework, like to read the book, to do the CDs. And I have, if you look at my website, there's so many intensives that I do. Like I'm now doing the power of divine love. I've done dreams, desires, and destiny.
What happens in the intensives? I mean, what are these?
They're like 4 or 5 meditations that I've channeled. That it's usually taken me some time to integrate inside my own system. And then once I do that, I start channeling.
When you say channeling, you're not really channeling another being.
No,
you're
I'm just channeling information.
Like a higher aspect of yourself.
Right.
You're connected to the source.
Right.
You're connecting that and bringing that information through.
So we don't really edit it. We just like, I'm just, you know, maybe a few edits. I don't write it. I just have a concept of what I'm going to do. I germinate on it for a long time before it's time to come out. I live it. And then it just comes forth.
But how do you deal with, let's say, your personal emotion? I mean, you get attached to wanting people to get better. I mean, how do you deal with your own personal stuff as a healer as opposed to stepping back and just being the vehicle?
Sometimes it's hard because, you know, I have a great investment.
You deal with your human side and your divine healing side.
Right. Well, especially when it comes to fertility, say, because I have women that come to me because they want to get pregnant and they're, say, 38 to 45. So I have a big investment because I had twins and I know what it is and I know how strong that feeling is.
Right.
So naturally, I'm like the biggest coach for all of my clients. But you know, the fertility is a hard game. Sometimes you win and sometimes you have to go back in.
Right. Yeah.
So when it doesn't work, I know how devastating that is because I've been through it.
Right.
So, you know, my heart goes with them, but they know that I'm behind them. And I keep on saying, you know, you just keep envisioning what you want and you'll know if it's time to stop.
Is it always possible, I mean, for these women, or is there some things?
I'd say they get the edge when they do everything, the Western, the Eastern, the acupuncture, the
inner
healing,
work,
everything. Then it really gives you the edge. It really
but
gives
it
you
might
the edge.
not necessarily be...
It's not 100% definite, you know, maybe if you keep going back and back or whatever, at a certain point you might know when you want it to stop, but...
What's one of your success stories in that area where you're working with?
Oh, I have a lot.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, there's women that have, you know, there's one woman that had the hardest time getting pregnant. And we just kept on working.
Working how? How are you working
with the energy work, you know, where I was reading her energy system.
And seeing what was in the way of that.
Right, because the uterus is the third brain.
Is it?
Right. We've got the first one. The second one's the solar plexus. Okay. The third one is the uterus.
Men are missing a part of their brain. Right.
It's true.
Okay.
So here it is. Or I could say something else, but I won't on camera.
I know. They have a big head, but no brain.
But the thing is that in that whole uterine area, it's shocking when a woman, say for instance, has spent thousands and thousands of dollars on, you know, in vitro, but she has fear because she doesn't think that the partner that she's with is the right partner. Or she's afraid that they won't have enough money for the child.
So all that constricts.
It totally constricts.
But how is it a brain?
Well, because it has its own consciousness.
Right.
You know, the uterus goes, I'm supposed to be getting pregnant every month, you know?
Right.
And that's what it wants to do.
Yes.
And so sometimes, like if somebody's in a creative spin, you have to kind of talk to the uterus and say, you know, we're writing a book right now. It's not about having a baby. It's okay. You know,
we're going to give birth to the book.
Chill.
Yes.
We're doing the book right now. And then later we'll do the baby.
Do you have the women actually talk to their uterus? I mean, do they
Well,
dialogue?
they can start to, yeah, they can start to actually feel what's there. And they're most of the time, usually it's a shock. Like, oh my goodness,
that their
I
uterus...
didn't realize that I was feeling that. I didn't realize I was worried about money. You know, to such an extent that I could be blocking getting pregnant, something like that. And
it's not quite a specialty, but it's like I didn't realize that's really an area of focus that you have.
Well, because I had twins at 57.
know.
And I know the doctors, I know who to send them to in terms of the acupuncturist, the nutritionist. A lot of when people come to me, they have a whole, it's a network. If you want something in terms you want to get married, we got the network for that.
Oh, really?
You know, nutrition, we have the network for that. Anti-aging,
what is let's talk about anti-aging. Like, what are some of the ways you work with that?
You have to get rid of all the emotional stuff from the only reason why I can regenerate the way I do.
You do. I really do think you are looking younger.
Yeah. Is because I get clear away a lot of the emotional stuff that happens, like the angers, the resentments, poor me's, or whatever is going on.
You had to work on yourself with that.
A lot. A lot. I mean, I did primal therapies, you know, and then I realized that you could be hating your mother and father forever, so we had to shift out of that.
I know.
But at least I understand that. I understand bioenergetics, I understand acupuncture. I mean, I've done it all.
So to reverse the cellular aging, is there a meditation? Is there...
You've got to release all this junk, and stuff that you've been holding on to from years and years and years, because that's what ages you. It creates emotional toxins in the system.
Right.
Once you clear that out and you put divine love in its place, then you start regenerating. Same thing with mental ideas. Because I'm 66, I don't think like, oh my God, retirement, I'm, you know, a senior citizen. I don't even go there.
You think of yourself as younger than ever, right?
Right. I go 35. I hold myself as 35.
That's good.
And that's what I do.
Yeah.
And when everybody else is talking about, oh my God, when I'm old now, I've got this, oh my, and I don't relate to it. Nor do I let my clients relate to it.
Right, right.
So when they come in to see me, we start to deal with releasing disappointments, feelings like shoulda, woulda, coulda, get them to live, have passion for the next phase of their lives. They get there, they see themselves as beautiful, energetic. We bring in the healing energy, and boy, they start life shifting.
It's really just a whole complete program. You're working on people's energy, you're working on their physically, you're working on them emotionally. It really seems to come back to the emotions, right, that people are...
Well, that's the key for me. And anyway, that's my access in. It's the emotions, and then I move into the mental.
But you also work with sound. How do you work with sound? You have your drum, which is really powerful, because when you did it, I felt it all through my body. What do the sounds do in terms of the work that you're...
Well, it aligns it. Well, just
show
everybody
me.
can hear it, feel it.
Yes.
All right? So these are Tibetan bells. They were 16th century, given to me.
Those particular ones are 16th century.
By an antique spiritual dealer who said, these are your bells, Aleta. And I think he gave them to me maybe 25 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. You can feel that. So at the end of all the sessions, I end them with the bells. I also use the chakra bed, the chakra balancing bed, which I got from John of God down in Brazil, which balances all the chakra energy at the end of the session, sometimes in the middle of the session, depending on where the person's at, to really help. I'll keep my hands on the person to help move the energy, but then I bring that in. And then the drum, the healing drum, which basically I channel what the frequency, you know, the beat of the drum should be for the person to really lock in the vibration of what we're doing in that session in their physical body. And you can feel it. It's powerful.
Yeah, no, I felt it through my body. So at the end of the session, the person, or I felt sort of renewed, regenerated, shifted from whatever I may have been holding before. And of course, you talk to people, you dialogue. And, and you see where they're at. And then as you tune in and you read their field, you talk about what you're seeing there and what's in the way of their movement.
Right, and how, and then we actually do something about it. It's not information. Information is just to like say, okay, this is where we're going. Let's shift it. Let's create a different paradigm for yourself, and then lock in the energy of what you want. And because I'm an energy healer, I can help raise the frequency so they get the idea and the feeling of what it's like to vibrate at that level.
Right. And then after the session, you said you give people homework. Like, what would they do?
Everybody that comes to me, the Bible of shifting. Life shift.
Aleta St. James, light shift.
Read the book, start doing the homework. I usually start them off with chakra balance, which is pretend you're riding on a horse with drumming, so that you're going through all the different chakras with music and light, color in each chakra. And then that one is the inner balance, which connects the right and left side. So I'll have them start working with that at night, which is getting the relationship between their male and their female energy inside themselves. Because once you get that, then everything else, feels more balanced in the outside world.
Do you love doing this? I mean, is this your passion?
I adore it.
It is.
There's not one day that I wake up that I'm not excited about doing my work.
Why is that? I mean, why is it so?
Because I love to see people change. I mean, I'm a dreamer,
Yeah.
and I've always had dreams, and I always get excited about people changing. And when they say, oh my God, it's a miracle, I can't believe my life totally changed. I mean, I had somebody come in last night, and beautiful Korean woman. Oh my God, gorgeous. And fabulous designer, just fabulous designer. And nothing was really happening for her the way it should. We did 2 sessions. She released a lot of stuff. She started to visualize. She did this show. Boom, broke out. Everything just started. I mean, she said all of a sudden they were inviting her here. She was in this magazine. They're giving her this or that. Now I'm going to have gorgeous hoops. I'm getting hoops as a present and a beautiful cross.
Because you helped her shift.
Yeah, she was so happy. But those kind of things happen to me a lot with people. And that makes me happy.
Well, I can see you're really doing your life's work. And this is what, this is really what makes you different from a lot of people who just call themselves healers and they think they have some heal. They're not as excited or as enthusiastic as you are, and that's special.
Well, that's the only reason to be. You think about if you don't have passion in your life and it's about connecting with people.
Well, one more question. Do you feel like you are working then with specific guides on a higher energy? Tell me.
There are times where beings of light come in.
Because I just saw 2.
Yeah, they're big. They're beings of light.
Yeah.
And it usually comes in when I'm doing something for mankind. And then all of a sudden, boom, I can feel them. So in my healing room, they're definitely around. But do I talk to them? I feel their presence.
Okay.
I do. And then sometimes I go, oh my God, the big guns are here. They're here.
Let's talk about the big picture on the next show.
Okay.
Okay, so for this show, how can people find you and reach you and make an appointment and do a session?
You can find me on my website, Aleta, A-L-E-T-A, STJAMAS.com. Email Aleta, A-L-E-T-A, at Aleta St. James, STJAMES.com.
And Aleta is located in New York City, and she's available for appointments. And there's still room. I mean, you're booked up a lot, but there's always room.
There's room, and I'm doing groups and also Skype sessions. I do a lot of the Skype sessions.
And we might lead a tour to Europe.
Oh God, talk about that.
We will. We'll talk about that. But let me just wrap up for this show.
All right.
And I'm Alan Steinfeld with Aleta St. James in New York City. Thank you for watching New Realities. If you want to reach me, go to my website, newrealities.com, or email me at newrealities@earthlink.net.